Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor. We're back with another Alliance War video, and this is going to be Alliance War Season 62, War number 2. And unfortunately, the first fights on my main account did not record, so I'm just going to be showing you what they were. I was on Path 2, I was fighting Storm X into Hyperion, and then I was on to Path 8, America Chavez and Nova. All these fights are with Hood, by the way. And then I took Node 38 Thanos with Hood. And then I took Node 40, Mixed Bastard Maestro with Hood. And then I took Node 44, Sentinel with Hood. And then I took Node 47, Onslaught with Hood. And I do have a little clip from this one, because this is all that recorded. That's it. Like, I'm not exaggerating. I was screen recording the whole time. That is the only thing that saved, is this little 15-second clip right here. So, unfortunately, I can only show you one of my 9 fights from this war on my main account. And I do apologize because I am still sick, but I wanted to do this voiceover. So basically, when I saw there was a Gene Boss, I knew that I had to make a plan where I was bringing Zola. So I figured the best way for me to be able to fit the rest of my team was if it was a Hood war. So I did use Hood for 8 fights in a row, and then just the last one here is with Zola. I did speed up the first 2 minutes here because I just had a really hard time getting her in the corner and going for my heavy attacks. Like right here, I know I should probably go for the special 3 just to heal me up because I did get clipped twice. I don't think I'm going to get hit for the rest of the fight. I think it's all going to be like damage into my block. Oh no, sorry, I'm going to get hit by a heavy attack. That's right, yeah, I'm going to get hit by a heavy attack, but that's going to be it. And I'm pretty sure it's actually pretty soon. So, yeah, pretty annoying. There it is. That's where I get hit by the heavy attack. The rest of the fight's going to go fine. But I don't really know what it was on this attempt. I just had such a difficult time getting her into the corner and heavy attacking, and I know this is just due to experience, and I know it'll be better next time. But from here on out, we kind of play the fight the way that you're supposed to. So we do actually get some pretty good damage cycles on. It's going to be a bit of a longer fight than last time, but you know, every time I do this fight, I'm getting slightly more comfortable with it. So I'm sure I'm going to have a clean fight at some point, I hope. But we were still nowhere near dying in this event, even though I played it badly and got hit on, I guess, technically 3 separate occasions. But, yeah. We want to bait that L2 out of her. She wasn't being super nice with her specials in this fight. There were a couple times where I was worried, and I almost didn't get them all baited out in time. Like here, I was worried I was about to lose my Maker pre-fights, but then we hit a nice intercept, reset the special lock, and then we are able to go for a striker into a heavy. Also, I could have parried right there. I think I just wasn't paying attention, frankly. And yeah, we're about to go for our special 1. And when we are getting the cycles off, they are doing some really good damage. We're just not really doing the best job of keeping her in the corner. But like I said, as soon as the 3-minute mark hit, we did start playing the fight correctly. So I think, does she die here or the next heavy cycle? I'm not sure. The next one, right, because I'm going to take out her whole shield with these disintegrations. Take the special 2, and now she's dead. Okay. So yeah. Like I said, I do apologize for the way that my voice sounds. I'm sure it sounds like I'm sick. I have been actually feeling a lot better. I'm not, like, cold sick. It's just a nasal thing. But, yeah, unfortunately, I was actually really mad when I realized that my fights didn't record because they were so beautiful. In my first 8 fights, all with Hood, I did not get hit a single time. I finished every single fight at full health, with the exception of Node 44 Sentinel. I took like 30% of my health in Hazard Shift, and then in the Onslaught fight, I accidentally parried one of the hits of the special 1 pretty early in the fight, so I lost some health to Neuroshock, but other than that, it was clean. Going on to my ult account, we actually have a pretty big war here because both us and Salty are pushing for War Champion, so this is a big match. And unfortunately, we're going to get pretty terrible AI in this fight, and Dark Phoenix is going to throw her special 2 into my hard block, not once, but twice, back to back. So, unfortunately, or luckily, we were able to fail one of the 2 Nova Flames, but we did get Nova Flamed, and there was no way we could have prevented that because you can't stop defenders from throwing specials into your hard block. And then here, unfortunately, we do get the 35% chance for immortality to not be failed with my Fate Seal. That does unfortunately happen, but we just have to wait out immortality, and then take her down right after that. Just one moment. Just had to blow my nose. Next up, this is a fight I've taken before. I took it last season one time. This is Node 18 Arcade. We're going to be taking this with Bastion. I was just healing Hood up because I knew I have some fights with him later on. And I believe this is actually the only fight on my ult account where I get hit, like, avoidably. Because there's one time I'm going to get hit in my last Bastion fight of the war where the situation, like, there was no way to get out of getting hit. It was just a bad situation. But Arcade is an okay matchup here. You want to just get to your L2 with your Infection up. Here we're going to go for the heavy attack to start stealing a little bit of, or to start siphoning a little bit of power. But now we're going to go for our L2. We do have something to pay attention to in this fight, and that is the fact that every single time a poison triggers from Hazard Shift, it is going to give him the charges. So here we're going to go for our SP1, and it's going to get auto-blocked because he gets enough tokens, so that's really unfortunate. But there's not really much we can do other than just not throwing specials during poison phase, which is kind of annoying to have to think about that. So, yeah. So here we have to wait out the indestructible, and then we're going to go for our special 1. The Fury unfortunately goes away in the middle of our special 1, so the ending of it doesn't hit very hard. But at this point, we just need to get back to 1 special, and then the fight is going to be over. So we just need to get to our special 1 right here with a heavy attack, and then wait out the indestructible, and then he is going to drop. And that's basically it. So, but actually, we failed the indestructible with the Assassin Mastery. Even though I only run 1 point in Assassin, it actually did fail the indestructible there, so that's pretty cool. Anyways, yeah, that fight was never scary. It's just a little bit awkward, but I still finished the fight with 90% health, so pretty good. Okay, next up here, we're going to be going over to Path 8, Section 2, and we are going to be taking this Sasquatch with Hood. Hood into Sasquatch, not the greatest matchup in the world because you do have to pay attention to a couple things, like the fact that your Fate Seal doesn't always fail the Unstoppable from Wrath, but it usually does. We actually get really bad RNG in this fight, and I'm pretty sure out of 3 chances to fail the Unstoppable, we fail it 0 times, which is just so absurd that that is even possible, but yeah, pretty unfortunate. We are alternating our hits to prevent him from getting too many buffs, and at this point, all we're really doing is we're waiting out his charges. So, like, what we want to do is we want to ramp and get as many hexes on him as possible, and then wait for him to go into Wrath. And then as soon as Wrath is over, or, I mean, ideally while Wrath is active, but that's not going to happen here because of bad RNG. We want to detonate either while Wrath is active or right after it expires. So here it goes up, but we miss the chance. Oh my god, I just realized this is Force of Will. I'm stupid. I'm so used to fighting Sassy on other nodes where you can fail the unblockable that I just was not paying attention to the fact that this is Force of Will, so I can never fail it. Okay, you know what? I'm glad I realized that before posting the video. I'm glad I realized that during the recording, because that would have been a really embarrassing thing for someone to point out in the comments. But I just realized this node has Force of Will, so of course I'm not going to fail the Unstoppable. I'm very smart. Anyways, Northstar here. This is going to be a pretty straightforward fight with Bastion. It is pretty annoying, and we are going to take a good amount of block damage just because we don't have a good way of dealing with... I forget what the passive is called, where his special attacks cost less. What I'm saying is, Northstar is going to get to like 3 or 4 special 2s in this fight, and I'm just going to block them all. I do know how to dex them, but there's literally no reason to try to dex them, because it's just going to do more damage to me if I try and fail. There's no reason to. But you can see we're actually doing pretty solid damage here. I did do some duels to practice the heavy countering specials, although throwing a heavy right here during the protection... the damage that's getting reflected from the parry is being reduced very significantly, so it's not something we have to worry about here. I think I'm going to try to get to my infection. I don't know if I succeed. Oh, looks like I do. Nice. Right before I get to special 2, and then I think here I was trying to bait a special 1, but he didn't want to throw it, so I was just like, okay, I really need to get a special 1 off, so I'm just going to go Relic, use the heavy, push him to special 2. And I did manage to get almost the full special 1 in before the protection came back, and actually he didn't get pushed to special 2, so that's cool. And it was power efficiency that I was talking about earlier. I just realized because I see the passive now. Yeah. Gonna bait the special 2, gonna block it all. It's barely gonna even tickle me. It took off like 5% of my health, so not something to worry about. I think at this point there's no real reason to go back to special 2 because 2 FP1s is gonna kill from here. And I think I was trying not to bait the special 2. No, never mind. But there, yeah, we parried by accident, wasn't ready to go for a heavy attack. Here, I should be going for a heavy attack. Yeah, there we go. And now I just need to dex into a combo, into a special 1, and the fight's going to be over. So, not the cleanest fight in the world, but you know what? I didn't get hit, nowhere near dying. I'm pretty happy with that. And I am relatively new to Bastion still. Okay. Mini bosses now. We have 3 minis this war on my alt, which is actually pretty good. That's a really good number of minis to have, especially when I'm this new to the Alliance. But we're taking Node 38 Thanos, the exact same fight I took on my main. I actually took these ones like 10 hours before I took all the fights on my main because I had to wait to coordinate with someone so that I could take the boss, and here I didn't have to wait. This one's actually significantly slower. I don't really know what the difference was because I used the big boosts, like I used 30%, 25%, and 20% on both accounts this war. But for some reason, this fight, which is the exact same fight I ended up taking on my main, took like 25 more seconds on this account. And I genuinely don't know what the difference was. But yeah, I thought that was really weird when I was like, I remember the fight time from my other account taking this fight, and it was way faster, and I don't know why. But very safe fight. I think one of the issues is that obviously because you're using your L2 for knockdowns, it's going to be a little bit trickier to get Thanos to those protection phases. With the protection down. Like right here, we ended up failing it, so it doesn't come back until the next time we knock down. There I was trying desperately to push to the first protection, and it just was not working. So I'm going to end up getting it there, and then we're going to go in, phase this, and then go for a heavy. So now that's 2 phases down, but the fact that that took over a minute is just frankly embarrassing. It should not be taking that long. That's really bad. Here we're gonna go for medium. Here we can't hit because of, yeah, and then there we could hit during the parry because it was safe. And then here I think we're just gonna reparry. Yeah, and then just as soon as he gets down to 25%, the fight is over because we can just heavy once again. So while it while it may have been a slower fight, it was very safe. Like, there was never any risk of me dying here, so I'm happy with it. And then I think here, yeah, we're just waiting for our invisibility. Gonna go for that L2. That does get to protection, so now we just need to back off, wait for protection to be gone, and bro is dead. So GG's. Like I said, really slow. I think it took like a minute 41 on my other account for the same ranks, rank 4 Hood versus rank 4 Thanos, but who knows why. I don't know why. Anyways, 2 fights left on this account. We have one more Bastion fight, which is going to be Node 41 Cassandra Nova. Cassandra Nova's not really a defender. She's only being placed currently because she is a tactic champion. I do not expect her to ever see the light of day on defense when this tactic is done, unless she's diversity. But she's not really super threatening on this node. We're just going to bait the special ones. If we get rooted, we're just going to reduce the duration of the root with our tactic endurances anyways. But we are going to heal up here. I think we're going to throw in one more potion. Yeah, and that's going to get us to 100%. And honestly, I was expecting this fight to be faster than it was, and I don't really know why it wasn't super fast. I did have a PS1 boost on, so I decided to just chuck that right at the start of the fight, and the reason I decided to throw it is because I knew that if I didn't throw it, there's no way I would get enough charges by the time I got to my special 2. So I did that so that I could get a 2 Fury SP2, and you know, it's just some free damage with really no downside. But there's not too much to pay attention to in this fight. We're going to be going for those. Excuse me. We're going to be going for those medium combos so that we can ramp as fast as we can. And then, yeah, just keep up the tactic endurance. And there's not too much to it. You can see we're playing it super safe. And then right here we do get to the SP2 and throw it off. Going to bait the special 1. And right here, because she threw the SP1 instantly, we do just barely have time to get back. Here, okay, the reason I went for this SP1 is because honestly, I thought it would kill. I was expecting it to kill from 50%, but because I don't have recoils on, it's going to leave her at 10%. And then because I was at 8 of the 10 charges for the hit to go unblockable, I knew I was going to eat that L2, but I also knew it wouldn't kill me, so I wasn't super concerned about it. And then here she's just going to walk into my SP1 and die from the first hit. So, not a perfect fight, but nothing to be worried about. I mean, I ended at over 80% still. So now we're on to our final fight of the war, which is going to be Node 47 Shocker. And Hood is by far the best counter to this. It is not close. And Shocker is actually going to be really uncooperative in this fight, and it's still going to be fine. So, we have our PS1 active, I think. Do I? Yeah, for 29 more seconds, so that's cool. What I want to do to start out the fight, I obviously have enough bullets that I don't need to go for any extra heavies, but I wanted to go for heavies so that I could safely have a chance to go for my invisibility here. But bad AI moment where he just refused to go for a heavy ended up delaying the fight by over 10 seconds. I'd say at least 10 seconds I would have saved had he not done that. But yeah, now we're going for L2s, and we are just going to completely destroy this guy with the L2 cycle. Just keep cycling until he is down. He's never going to get a chance to throw a single special, which is where all the risk in Shocker's kit comes from. He has no defensive abilities other than his special 1, arguably, is like the only thing. But yeah, 47%, go for that heavy. That does kill. 46 seconds. Should have been closer to 30 seconds, but it's fine. That is actually going to be it for my war, so let's just give it a second, and the scores for this war are going to pop up here. So AOH did win our war against TUGA 12-23, not the best performance from us, but it was enough to get the win. And then unfortunately, NewN did lose to Salty. and we had 11 deaths. It said 17, but we had 6 extra deaths because we died 9 times to 1 fight. GG's to Salty. You know, this was supposed to be a good matchup for 2 alliances that were pushing for War Champion, and we just had a really rough war, and it just did not work out. So that's unfortunate, but good job to Salty, and I wish them luck for the rest of the season. AOH is now 2-0 on the season, and NewN is 1-1. I still have 0 deaths total with a total of 29 fights taken, and I've sold every single one, with 16 of those being on my main, 13 being on my alt, and I have a current deathless streak of 95 fights with an active streak of 49 on my main and 159 on my alt. So that is going to be all from me today. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you all in the next one. Hopefully I am no longer sick when I have to make that video, but we'll see. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.